What's going on today, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jay. I have never ever checked out a Jackson on the channel in the three and a half years plus that I've been running the channel. We're gonna rectify that right here, right now. And as you've probably deduced from the thumbnail, yes, I've got a Jackson Pro Plus Series DKA. I've got it here in this beautiful metallic black finish. It also comes in an oxblood red color, which is also sick. Let's get into some specs right off the bat. So first off, you've got an Okume body, if I'm saying that properly. And if I'm not, let me know in the comments down below. Okume in the metallic black finish. And the metallic sparkle that's in the finish is very subtle. It's not too over the top, so it doesn't look kind of obnoxious. It just looks like a shiny black guitar, which is awesome. You've got a 5-piece maple neck, which is nice, consisting of maple and walnut. The two thinner stripes are the walnut, and they're really dark. They almost look like ebony. Typically, when I see walnut on the back of a neck, it's usually more of like that typical mid-tone, you know, like wood table color. But these are nice and dark, and I like that. I prefer that. They look like ebony. Speaking of which, the fretboard is ebony. It's a nice, beautiful, dark black finish in the ebony. 24 jumbo stainless steel frets, and you've got a compound radius on this of 12 to 16 inches. Now, where have we heard that before? Well, Charvel necks, which I typically rave about because they're my favorite. Pretty much all Charvel necks are 12 to 16 inches compound radius, which this is the same because if you're not aware, Jackson is also owned by Fender, as is Charvel, so they're going to share some similarities between sister brands. Now, this neck though, the shape overall, it's not designated on the website, so I don't really know what it is, but it's definitely not a modern C. I would call this more of a modern D shape. It's a little bit flatter and a little bit thinner in the back. It's not extremely thin, but it's on the thinner side for sure. But it's definitely a D shape, but it's rounded off enough so that it's just still very comfortable. It doesn't seem, you know, odd or, you know, just, it's comfortable. I don't know what to tell you. D shape is very nice to me. The C's are nice, but overall, I think I'm starting to veer towards this kind of the modern D shape as my personal preference, especially if you're doing a lot of single note stuff and a lot of lead work as opposed to kind of chords. I guess either one is comfortable. I don't know what I'm talking about there. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but I like the neck. It's very nice. Offset inlays. And then, of course, you've got the lumen lace side dots when you're playing in the dark. And this is your typical setup, guys. It's just two humbuckers, master volume, master tone, 5-way selector. Have a nice day. As far as the bridge, we've got a Floyd Rose 1000 series. It's recessed, which is nice. It's not always recessed on some, you know, other models and other brands. I prefer the recessed look. This guitar plays really well, stays in tune really great. Now, the two humbuckers here are Seymour Duncans. You've got one of their typical combinations, which is the JB in the bridge and the 59 in the neck. They sound great. They do what they do. They've been around for years, so you know how they sound. On the back of the guitar, you've got that nice kind of recessed heel joint. That's good. That's you know, a modern metal machine needs to have that because for people that are up here at the 24th fret and what have you, it's just easier access. It's very comfortable. This guitar is kind of like, the minute you put it in your hands, it just feels right. It just feels like what you're accustomed to. If you're somebody who plays metal, you know, you've been into this kind of thing for a long time, it does the job really well. Obviously, you've got a locking nut, and then you've got Jackson's, just their typical standard die-cast tuners, which they work fine. And besides, you're gonna fine tune the guitar on this end anyhow, so these don't have to be like the best tuners of all time, but they seem to work fine. Now we're gonna run the demo track, but before I do, I just wanna give you a quick explanation. I'm using a lot of different neural DSP plugins on this demo track, so I just wanna give you like a smattering of different sounds that you can kind of get with this guitar. Let's just roll the track. right, so I want to kind of summarize the guitar overall and give you my thoughts and opinions, speak to some of the finer points, as well as mention some items that I feel could use some kind of improvement. First off, this guitar has a wonderful weight balance to it. It just sits exactly where it needs to. It doesn't really neck dive or fall backwards. It's very comfortable to play. It's well built from what I can tell. There are no issues with the fit and finish, and it's got a nice heft to it. This probably weighs about 7.5 pounds, I would say. I didn't weigh it, obviously. The finish is beautiful. It's a gloss finish, so it's never gonna shine up on you. It's never gonna kind of, well, I shouldn't say never, but it's really not gonna wear out on you as would a satin finish or an unfinished guitar. It's just gonna kind of stay pristine as long as you don't bang it around and chip the paint altogether. I do like the fact that they've got these nice knobs that are kind of recessed into the body there. That looks really sleek, that's cool, right? And the 5-way selector, solid clicks, you know which position you're in when you move it, perfect. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but the truss rod adjustment is down at the base of the neck where it should always have been. And that is perfect. Charvel does that too. It's just more convenient. It's a modern placement. It's much easier to access it quickly on the fly when you need to. It's great. The D-shaped neck is wonderful. This is one of my favorite shapes out there right now, and the compound radius is really nice because, as you're aware, you can do your chord stuff here. It's a little more rounded, and then as you move up the neck, it gets a little bit flatter. It's kind of indiscernible. You really can't tell the difference per se, but just knowing that that's the difference there. The neck is beautiful. The 5-piece neck, reinforced neck is nice. I like that a lot. These Seymour Duncans are tried and true. They're just a good set of pickups, a good combination that I've seen in a lot of guitars. Now, I will mention this. The 59 pickup in the neck has more of a scooped frequency profile to it, where the treble's a little bit higher, and then the bass, and then the mids, whereas the bridge pickup is kind of like bass, mid, treble. So it's a little bit brighter, which is good for the modern stuff. I don't find it to be too bright like the full shred, the Seymour Duncan full shred, which is in some other guitars I've reviewed. It's just a really high output, really good metal pickup. Now, for some of the points that I kind of wish we could improve upon, again, there's nothing wrong with this guitar, okay? It costs $1,000 here in the US currently, and for that price, for me, that's kind of a mid-tier, upper mid-tier price. You kind of expect the guitar to have every appointment, every feature that you would ever want on a guitar without having to really upgrade it, unless that's your thing and you just like to upgrade. First off, these tuners, they work fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I would just prefer to have the locking tuners. Faster string changes, that's all, enough said. As far as the neck is concerned, there is really very little to no kind of rounding out on the sharp edge here. Some other necks have the rolled fingerboard edges, that's what they're calling it. The Fender has the ultra rolled fingerboard edge, so it's nice and rounded. You just don't feel that sharp edge there. I really don't understand why builders aren't doing that just as a matter of course. It doesn't take any extra time. It takes 10 seconds to take a piece of high grit sandpaper and just kind of do this on that edge. Done. In the amount of time I just demonstrated to you, that's how long it would take to kind of smooth that out. Just do that before you put the frets on and the binding and what have you. Any manufacturers out there that ever watch this video, please start making your fingerboard edges a little more rolled, a little rounder, and a little smoother. This is just very sharp. I mean, you're not gonna get like a splinter off this thing, but it's just such a sharp edge. I don't see the point in having that in your hand. It's just not very comfortable. My last kind of little gripe, and it's not a big one, but again, the Floyd Rose 1000 series bridge, it's just too obtrusive. It just juts out too much. I like my bridges to be streamlined, as flush as possible, which you get more like on the Floyd 1500 series. Also, the fine tuners here in the back of the bridge, they just sit too high. So, I'm constantly palm muting when I'm playing, and I often hit that with the back of my hand, or if you're kind of going at it, strumming pretty hard, you're bound to whack it with your hand or with your wrist. It just protrudes too much for me, so I don't care for that. I've always liked kind of the Ibanez Low Pro system better because it's just, it's kind of flush. I don't know why they're still making this bridge this way. Just This is kind of an aside note, but for Floyd Rose, whoever's manufacturing them now, I don't care who they are, I don't care what it's made out of as much as the shape of it. The angle of which, you know, the fine tuners kind of come up is just too steep. If they kind of lowered it a little bit, let it, you know, just a less steep angle, and had these fine tuners set back a little further, it would just be less obtrusive, less in your way. That's a personal preference, whatever. That all being said, most of my guitars are hardtails, which, you know, so obviously they're gonna be very low profile and very smooth, whereas this is just the opposite. These fine tuners just jut out too much. And you know, I've been playing for a lot of years. I can play with it there. You know, it's not terrible, but once in a while you just get a little into it too much, you start strumming, and next thing you know, you're hitting it with the back of your hand. There's a way to fix this. So, I don't know. So overall, I would give this guitar definitely, absolutely 2 thumbs up. The only thing I would change really is the color. I'd get the Oxblood color over this one because I just prefer the deep dark reds. But this black is metal all day, right? That's just straight up evil in a good way. It looks awesome. Anyways, guys, first Jackson on the channel. I'm sure I'll have many others in the future because now that I've had my hands on this one, I know how much I enjoy them, and I'm really excited to see, you know, what else they're gonna be putting out soon. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll talk to you soon. I'm out of here. See ya.